Chairman. Dr. Docking, excuse me. Can you tell me the value of a liberal arts degree, even if it can't be monetized immediately in the job market?
Yes, Congressman Scott. The value of a liberal arts degree is that we teach students not necessarily what to think, but how to think, to be lifelong learners, to look at what's presented to them every day in terms of the experiences they have and the people they meet, what they're trying to accomplish professionally and otherwise, and to learn from those experiences. The liberal arts exposes students to several disciplines during their undergraduate years, so they're comfortable in everything from math to history to English, speaking, writing, and so it creates a well-rounded person that's committed to lifelong learning.
And in a life, during the life, is it more valuable as a technical education where you learn a skill and can monetize it immediately?
It is, Mr. Scott. You know, if you look 20 years out to liberal arts majors, they're doing just as well as schools in more technical fields. Certainly, you know, right out of college, if you get a degree in a pre-professional program like engineering, you might make more in the first few years. But liberal arts majors quickly catch up because of this emphasis on lifelong learning.
Thank you. Dr. Del Piar, can you tell me the effect that financial support has on a student's likelihood of completion?
We know from the research that students oftentimes leave college because of small life events that move them off of the pathway. So for example, I was visiting a community college in Tennessee where students, the average emergency grant that a student received was $80. And that was the difference oftentimes between students being able to stay enrolled or students having to leave. So programs like the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund that Congress invested in years ago make a huge difference. We've done some research looking at programs in Texas. And during that time, the institutions with the most Pell students actually had higher than average retention rates because of those emergency grants that provide students with the resources just in time at the point where they needed them or where they were experiencing oftentimes a life challenge that may put them off track.
And what kind of emergencies cost $80?
Pop tire, you can't pay your electric bill, just the basic things that oftentimes students may be facing. If you're full-time enrolled and you're working full-time, a significant number of students are working full-time, those small life events can lead you off track.
Thank you. And Dr. Napier, we passed legislation that enabled the Pell program to fund short-term programs. How would that fit into your micro-stackable courses?
So it has to do, again, with workforce alignment there. What is the return on investment for these programs given the way that they are positioned? You know, is that manufacturing, is it cybersecurity, agriculture, so on and so forth. So when we talk about embedding AI into all of these things, what is that immediate impact in the field? You know, do we know it right now? Will we see it over time? And so, you know, as we go to launch new short-term programs or adapt those that are currently existing, we just take a look at the critical need, not only in the nation, but more importantly in the state of Mississippi, to ensure our learners, both the traditional and non-traditional, have a pathway to employment.
Thank you. Mr. Oyerende, you mentioned a positive return on investment when you invest in students. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, it's really straightforward. So imagine you have a cycle. And so the first phase of the cycle is increased investment in student supports, coaches, laptops, Wi-Fi. What that does is it improves, in the second stage of the cycle, your retention rates. So that means fewer students drop out. What happens when fewer students drop out? That means as an institution, you retain more revenue. Your balance sheet goes up because each student who drops out previously would have been lost revenue that now you're holding on to. And what can you do with that new revenue? Well, then you can now reinvest in more student support services. So it's really about getting that virtuous cycle started. That does cost a lot of money up front. We've raised over $100 million to get going, but it's profitable as a system to invest in student support services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, gentlemen. I recognize the gentlelady from North Carolina, the Chairman Emeritus, Ms. Fox.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I thank our witnesses